So I didn't have Pakistan and Iran trading military strikes on each other's countries on my 2024 bingo, but this obviously is an unprecedented escalation in hostilities between these two neighboring nations. And so the tensions here are really unfolding against a backdrop of heightened Middle East turmoil that is being largely driven by Iran at this point. They support Hamas in their fight in Israel in support of the October 7th attacks on Israel. They support the Houthis and supply the Houthis. They also supply Hamas. They also supply Hezbollah, who is attacking Israel, the Houthis in the Red Sea, etc. They themselves have attacked shipping near India, and now it seems that they are launching their own strikes into other countries, such as Pakistan, and Pakistan themselves have responded. Now I'll zoom in on the border of these two nations here. Obviously, we can see that Iran is over here. This is Pakistan, and there is a 900-kilometer border, about 560 miles, that runs between these two countries right in here. And it runs through the Baluchistan region. Now, this region is a large region that covers three countries. It covers Afghanistan, Iran, and Pakistan. And this is an area that all three countries have grappled with militants that are operating for many years. They actually work together generally to counter these militant efforts, but it is highly unusual for them to launch attacks on each other's soil. So this situation rapidly unfolded with Iran conducting the first strikes on Pakistan's territory in this region right in here. Now, these strikes resulted in the tragic deaths of 2 children and injured several others. Overarchingly, there was about 10 deaths that have been reported by Pakistani authorities. Iran claimed that they were targeting Iranian terrorists present on Pakistani soil and asserted that no Pakistani nationals were harmed. However, this has been somewhat disproven by Pakistan, but neither of these governments have been overly forthcoming with the truth on this situation. However, this attack did spark outrage in Pakistan, which condemned the attack as a grave violation of international laws in the spirit of their bilateral relations. Now, Iran's state-aligned Tasnim news agency clarified that their objective was to target the strongholds of Sunni militant groups, the Jaish al-Adal, known as Jaish al-Dulm in Iran, or also known as the Army of Justice. This is a separatist militant group that operates on both sides of the Iran-Pakistan border and has previously claimed responsibility for attacks against Iranian targets, with the ultimate aim of achieving independence from Iran's Sistan and Baluchistan provinces. Now, it's important to note that Pakistan is predominantly Sunni, while Iran and its axis of resistance primarily follows Shia branches of Islam. This religious divide adds to the complexity of their already intricate relationship with regard to fighting these militants here. Now, in response to the Iranian strikes, Pakistan did launch a counteroffensive 2 days later, describing it as a series of highly coordinated and specifically targeted precision military strikes on alleged separatist hideouts in Sistan and Baluchistan, and this took place right in here. Pakistan's foreign ministry claimed that 9 militants were killed in these strikes, and the Iranian authorities reported the deaths of at least 7 individuals, including 3 women and 4 children. They're saying that no militants were hit, that apparently Pakistan just killed women and children, which is always the convenient argument that these types of groups make, whether it's Hamas, Iran, etc., ISIS. Pakistan asserted that it had long complained about separatist fighters finding safe havens and sanctuaries on the Iranian side, which led to its decision to take matters into its own hands with these retaliatory strikes. Now, this border conflict between Pakistan and Iran is not entirely new. They have been grappling with separatist elements operating on each other's border for some time. However, what sets this situation apart is the willingness of both sides to target areas across the border without prior notification. So all of this is harkening back to the broader regional conflict, and it is emboldening Iran because the United States, the United Kingdom, traditional powers that would actually exercise their might to stop all these types of things are somewhat taking a back seat and only taking little pot shots here or there relative to their total military strength. So Iran is emboldened and adopting a more proactive stance in pursuing targets beyond its borders, especially as the United States navigates a delicate balance between de-escalation and asserting its military influence to deter further Iranian actions. Now, in the days leading up to the strikes in Pakistan, Iran launched ballistic missiles at Iraq and Syria, claiming to target Israeli spy bases and anti-Iran terror groups. Simultaneously, there were clashes between Israel and Iranian-backed Hezbollah along the Lebanese border, while the U.S. was engaged in fighting Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen who have been attacking ships in the Red Sea. You see the theme here. It's all Iran-backed. And if Iran and its proxies face no consequences for their activities other than potentially an airstrike here or there, they're going to continue. They have no incentive to cease their pursuits in this arena. Iran actually benefits from regional stability and filling the power vacuums that were left by the U.S. at the end of the various wars they fought there. Iran's actions align with several of its primary goals, including supporting Hamas, the Houthis, Hezbollah, and also countering American influence in the Middle East. These actions reflect Iran's ambitions to establish itself as the regional leader, seeking regional hegemony amid the presence of the United States, Saudi Arabia, and Israel in the region. They want to be the top dog in the region, knowing full well that they won't be able to take global hegemony, but regionally they can affect some of the outcomes. Now, this border conflict that I just talked about between Pakistan and Iran has historic roots as well. The Baloch people, who I showed you reside in that intersection between Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Iran, have displayed a strong sense of independence and resentment towards both Pakistan and Iran. In fact, Tehran and Islamabad, as I said, have worked together to counter the insurgencies. And these insurgencies have simmered because both countries, Iran and Pakistan, have been taking natural resources from the Baloch region. And these people of these regions think that the monopolies that are held by Iran and Pakistan are negatively affecting them. So in terms of what we're seeing here, these deadly attacks are being used against each country to flex influence. Unfortunately, it is the Baloch people that are being targeted. Now, if there are terrorist groups that are dying, I'm not going to shed a tear there. But the broader implication here is Iran is becoming more emboldened, and they're using protracted insurgencies across the region as their reason for interfering or getting weapons and saying that they are just trying to eliminate terrorist activity. Now, Iran has also faced insurgencies from the Kurds and the Arabs as well, so we'll see how this further escalates in that regard. But those groups are a little bit more powerful. I mean, the Arab forces and the Arab insurgencies tend to have a backing of countries like Saudi Arabia, whereas the Kurdish forces themselves have had a lot of equipment and a lot of strength come out of the United States, as it was the Kurds that somewhat helped the United States during the stages of when we were trying to find Saddam Hussein in Iraq. So we'll see how this all plays out with regard to what Iran is willing to do. And really, the main point is what the United States is willing to allow happen.